Hey guys, welcome back. With these end times rolling up, we must understand what a Sukkot is. The book of Sukkot, the chosen people. So let's check this out. And if this rings with you, please leave a comment below. The mysterious guest. The Sukkot story. There will be a time when things get rough and we have to go to this Sukkot. All right. So let me go here. Where was it? Mm-hmm. Had all this pulled up, and now it kicks it off.
After we celebrate the holiday of Rosh Hashanah and then the holiday of Yom Kippur, and we are sure that we are written and we are sealed for a happy and healthy, sweet New Year, we move on to the holiday of Sukkot. And the Torah tells us in Leviticus, Pasuk 42 and Pasuk 43, in Leviticus chapter 23, the Torah tells us about Sukkos Teishvu Shivas Yomim. In the Sukkah shall you sit for 7 days. Kol ha'ezach b'Yisrael yeshvu b'Sukkos. Every resident amongst the Jewish people, the people of Israel, shall sit in these Sukkos, shall sit in these booths. And the Rambam, Maimonides, in Positive Commandment 168, says this is a positive commandment to dwell in the Sukkah for all 7 days. What is the meaning of this mitzvah? To try to understand it on various levels. So we start with Pshat, the simple level. So Rashi, the classic commentator of the Torah, tells us, what is the reason that we sit in the Sukkah? Says Rashi, the Sukkah represents the Ananei HaKavod, the clouds of glory that surrounded the Jewish people throughout all the 40 years of the desert. In other words, when the Jews left Egypt, and they were in a very, very hot place, the desert, God protected them by putting 7 clouds around them. They had a cloud to the east and the west and the north and the south, above them and below them. And as the commentaries explain, that these clouds served to protect them from the heat. It was like a central air conditioning. And it washed their clothing. Every night they went to sleep. They woke up in the morning and the clothing smelled fresh. And if they gained a few pounds, so now there was more room around the waist. If they got taller, the hem was let out. And furthermore, if there were snakes and scorpions beneath them, the clouds would kill that. And then the cloud in the front, the seventh cloud, during the day was like a pillar that directed them, like the GPS, where to go, right or left. And then at night, it turned into a pillar of fire that warmed them in the cold desert nights. And as the Ramban tells us, that these clouds reminded us that the Jews lacked nothing, that God was there and he protected them from all sides, like a mother who loves the child and smothers the child from all sides to protect the child. So too, God protected us from all sides, and he provided all of our needs. And because of this, we celebrate the holiday of Sukkot by making the Sukkah that reminds us of these clouds of glory. Why do we do the holiday now, which normally falls out around September time? And the answer is because really we should do it around Pesach. When we celebrate the holiday of Passover, we should sit in the Sukkah and eat the matzah. However, that time of year is a very comfortable time of the year. It's the spring. So the nations of the world might say, you know what? The Jews are eating in booths because it's a hot weather. They want to go outside and get the cool weather. That's why they're doing the mitzvah. And therefore, we specifically eat in the Sukkah, not in the spring or the summer, but on the contrary, in the fall, when it starts to rain and the weather is not so warm, to show that we're doing the mitzvah of Sukkah. Why? Because God commanded us to do so, not because it's comfortable to do so. So this is the basic pshat, the basic reason of why we sit in the Sukkah, to acknowledge the clouds of glory that protected us in the desert. There's a remez, there's a hint to why we eat in the Sukkah. It says in Yalkut Shimoni, in the portion of Emor, Kol ha-mekayim mitzvah Sukkah ba'olam hazeh, anyone who fulfills the mitzvah of Sukkah in this world, says the Yalkut Shimoni, Zoicha liyeshev b'Sukkahs eidei shel Aviyasa. He is Zoicha, he merits to sit in the Sukkah that will be made when Mashiach comes. And that Sukkah will be made from the skin of the Leviathan, the famous fish that God created at the very beginning of creation, that he's going to chop up when Mashiach comes, and we're going to have a big Seudah, a big meal, and he's going to have this delicious fish, Leviathan, that he prepared for us. And we're going to use the skin of this Leviathan to make a big, big sukkah, and the Jews will eat in that sukkah. Why do we need the skin of the Leviathan? Why is it so important that the Medrash says we're going to sit in a sukkah of the Leviathan? Because the concept of sukkah is that even our physical is given over to God. We go to Shul, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. It's a very spiritual time. We pray. It's very easy to pray. It's lip service. Comes along Sukkot, so now we sit in the Sukkah. We say even the physical also belongs to God. Everything that we have belongs to God. However, we're told in Kabbalah and Chassidus that this nullification, that we give over the physical to God, is only an external nullification. It's only the bittul hayesh, which means to nullify our ego. We give over our ego to God. However, we don't have the power now to really nullify our essence, which is called bittul b'mitzias. In other words, nowadays, I give myself over to God. The I still exists. However, the I is now going to be nullified to God, but there's still an I. So there's still the yesh. But Mashiach will come, will be truly nullified to God. Even the Metzias, the essence of our existence, will also be totally nullified to God. And this is hinted by the fact that the Sukkah will be made from the ur of the Leviathan, the skin of this fish, because there's a halacha that's brought down in the Mishnayos that kol shabayam tohar, everything that's found in the ocean, in the water, is pure. In other words, a vessel that is made from the skin of a fish cannot become impure. Other vessels, like metal, silver, gold, can become impure if someone that's impure comes in contact with it. But the skin of a fish, being that it's part of the water, it cannot become impure. Why? Because it's truly one with God. A fish knows it cannot leave the water. A human being thinks he lives on his own. But a fish knows he is always connected with his source of life, which is the water. It's going to leave the water, it's going to die. So really, the fish comes from a higher level of spirituality, which is, by the way, interestingly, halachically, we have to slaughter shecht, an animal, to eat it, to make it kosher. Even a kosher animal, which means a cow or a sheep, if you want to eat it, you have to shecht it. Because ein v'shachat elo mashach, by slaughtering it, you're elevating it from the level of beast and bringing the animal into the level of potential man. That's the idea of slaughtering it. But a fish does not need shechita, doesn't require shechita, ritual slaughter. Why not? Because a fish comes from the water, which represents Amod Diskasia, the concealed worlds, the higher worlds. In other words, the fish understands that it's one with God. It doesn't need to be elevated. So the skin of the fish and the skin of the Leviathan will be used to make the Sukkah, because then not only the spiritual, but even the physical will be totally nullified to God. Our ego and our mere existence will truly be harmonious with the essence of God, and there'll be no separation between us and God. So this is the remez, the hint of Sukkah. What is drush? The homiletics. The Baal HaTurim says the following. Why is it that we need to eat in the Sukkah for 7 days? Why not 5 days? Why not 8 days? Why specifically 7 days? So the Baal HaTurim says that the 7 days that we eat in the Sukkah alludes to the 7 clouds of glory that protected us. So we eat in the Sukkah 7 days, 1 day for 1 cloud. And furthermore, we find that in the word Bas Sukkos, because in the Sukkah, God made the Jews dwell. So the word Bas Sukkos, the chaf, the letter chaf of Bas Sukkos, has on it tagin, crowns. Now normally there are 7 letters in the Torah that require crowns. But here, the chaf also has a crown. In other words, the 7 letters that require a crown is not normally the chaf. The Shatnez gets. However, here the chaf has a crown on it. Why? To imply a halacha. When you have a crown, it's like putting a line underneath the word to underscore the concept, to emphasize the idea. So the fact that the chaf has tagin, it tells us that chaf is the gematria of 20. And that a sukkah is only allowed to be up to 20 amos high. It cannot be more than 20 amos high, or else it's not kosher. That's a halacha that we have in the laws of sukkah. So this is the drush that the Baal HaTurim tells us. Number 1, we eat 7 days to allude to the 7 clouds, and also that a sukkah cannot be more than 20 amos high, which is about between 30 and 40 feet high. What is soid? What is the esoteric level of sukkah? So the Mishnah tells us that a sukkah has to be 7 tefachim wide. A tefach is a handbreadth. It's about 4 inches. So a sukkah, the minimal or the minimum sukkah has to be 7 by 7 tefachim and 10 tefachim high. About 40 inches high. And 7 times 4 is about 28, about 28 inches by 28 inches wide. So it's 7 by 10. That's the halacha. Why is it that the sukkah has to be 7 tefachim wide and 10 tefachim high? So in Kabbalah it says that, number one, the 7 represents the 7 days of Sukkot, and the 10 represents the 10 days of Tshuva. In other words, Sukkot is a continuation of the 10 days of Tshuva that started with Rosh Hashanah, ended on Yom Kippur, and continues now on the 7 days of Sukkot. Furthermore, the number 10 represents the Yud Amukim, represents the 10 levels of Amukim, which represents Chachma Stima, the concealed wisdom. So the number 10 represents wisdom. And the 7 represents the Zayin Tikkunim, the 7 Tikkunim, which alludes to Tikkunei Galgalta, alluding to the skull. So again, the 7 Tefachim wide alludes to the skull. The 10 Tefachim high alludes to the supernal concealed wisdom. The skull is higher than the brain, is higher than the wisdom. It surrounds the wisdom. We'll soon talk about that. So, in short, what does this mean? So let's do some more math. If you want to know the area of a cube, it's the width times the length times the height. So it's 7 times 7 times 10. So 7 times 7 is 49. 49 times 10 is 490. So the square, the cube, the area of the sukkah is 490 tefachim. The number 490 is the same as the word tamim, complete. In other words, if you want to be complete, you have to be in the sukkah. And what is the sukkah? The sukkah is a combination of the 10 days of tshuva and the 7 days of sukkahs. There are those people who, when it comes to Yom Noirayim, the days of awe, they're very involved. They're into awe, they're into spirituality, they're into seriousness, and they can connect to God on that level. There are those who are very naturally connected with joy. They're party animals. They love to have l'chaim, they love to dance. That's their natural tendency. It comes along the sukkah and says you have to have both. If you want to be tamim, if you want to be complete, you have to serve God with joy and with awe. Awe alone is not enough. Joy alone is also not enough. You have to have this harmonious perfection by connecting the joy together with the awe. And that's the sukkah. That's the Kabbalistic approach. What does Chassidus say? To bring it all together, Chassidus says what you cannot accomplish on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur with tears, you can accomplish on Sukkot through joy. And Sukkot really mirrors Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. On Rosh Hashanah, we blow 100 tekiyos, 100 blasts. And the schach that goes over the sukkah, the covering of the sukkah, which is called schach. How do you spell schach? Samach, chaf, chaf. Samach is 60, chaf is 20, and chaf is 20 is 100. So the schach that goes over the sukkah is the mirror of the 100 blasts that we blew on Rosh Hashanah. And similarly, the main avodah, the main service of the high priest on Yom Kippur, the Holy of Holies, was to bring the ketores, the incense. And on Yom Kippur, he put a special ingredient to make sure that this incense produced a lot of smoke, a big, big cloud of smoke. And we say that the Shekhinah, the God's presence, was found in that cloud. And similarly, we say that the Sachach of the Sukkah, the covering of the Sukkah, alludes to this cloud of smoke that was in the Holy of Holies, which is, by the way, why the minhag in Chabad is that we make this chach very thick to allude to the thick cloud of glory that was in the Holy of Holies on Yom Kippur. What is the meaning of Sukkot? So the Torah calls Sukkot by a name. In addition to Sukkot, it also calls Sukkot by the name Chag HaOsif, the holiday of ingathering. In other words, the food, the fruit, and the grain was in the field throughout the entire summer. And now on Sukkot, we bring all the grain and all the fruit back into the house. It's Chag HaOsif, the holiday of ingathering, which is why it's such a joyous holiday. Because till now, you're not sure if you could eat the fruit. You planted the fruit grew, and you cut it down. But you did not actually reap the benefits yet because you did not see the produce in your home. Till it gets into your home, things can happen to it. And that's why we find in the Torah that pertaining to the holiday of Sukkot, the word simcha, the word joy is mentioned 3 times. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. So even though there are 3 major holidays, Passover and Shavuos and Sukkot, and all of these holidays are called holidays, which means v'samachta b'chagecha, you shall rejoice on your holidays. Yet only by Sukkot do we find the terminology of simcha actually mentioned 3 times. Because it's Chag HaOsif. It's the time that we bring everything into the home. And the same is true spiritually and personally. We went to the shul on Yom Kippur. We went to the shul on Rosh Hashanah, and we prayed. And there was a lot of lip service, a lot of letters, and a lot of words were produced. And now the entire synagogue is filled with all of these holy letters. But can you bring these letters to your home? Can you take all the brachas, the blessings back home into your house? Comes along the holiday of Sukkot and says, now, Chag HaOsif, bring all those blessings and all those prayers and all those requests back into the home. And it should not remain in the synagogue. It should not remain in the spiritual realm, but it should actually effectuate and pervade the physical, that you could actually pay your bills by it. And that is the meaning of Chag HaOsif. That's why you truly have joy. Yes, I believe God heard my prayers on Rosh Hashanah, but on Sukkot, I say, where's the beef? I want to be able to take the brachas and actually take it to the bank. So it's called Chag HaOsif. And we do this not only with our prayers, but in truth, we do this with all our 3 garments of the soul. Machshava, Dibur, and Maisa, which is thought and speech and action. And not only the thought and the speech and the action of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, but in truth, we do this with these 3 garments of the soul of the entire year, because Sukkot is the last holiday of the year. According to the Torah, the first holiday is Passover, the second holiday is Shavuot, and the final holiday is Sukkot. So this is called Chag HaOsif. It's an ingathering of all the thoughts and all the speech and all the action that we did throughout the entire year. Now we're bringing this home, and we're dedicating all of this to God in the Sukkah. We are becoming nullified to God's will. In other words, we are mastering our thought, and we are mastering our speech, and we are mastering our actions, that all of these 3 garments should be dedicated and devoted to good things and holy things and godly things. And we do this for 7 days, so that the blessings impact every day of the week, every Sunday of the week, and every Monday of the week, throughout the entire year, every Sunday of the year, and every Monday of the year, all the way through Shabbos. So we eat and we celebrate and we learn Torah and we pray in the Sukkah for 7 days, so that v'chag ha'osif, we are able to bring in all of these blessings. And all of the good qualities and all of the talents and all the garments of the soul that we acquired and we gathered throughout the entire year. And now we're able to inculcate this into the rest of the year or the new year into every day of the week. So this is the concept of Sukkot in a nutshell. It's taking the blessings and the prayers of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and it's bringing this into the home and into our everyday life and to pervade every single day of the week. My father-in-law tells the following story. He says that the Rebbe's father, the Mekubal and the Goin, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Schneerson, tells the story of Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev. What's the story? The story is that one year it was very difficult to get an esrig. In other words, on Sukkot, besides the mitzvah of sitting in the Sukkah, we'll talk about in a future class, the mitzvah of the 4 species of the Daled Minim. So you have to acquire 4 species. One of them is an esrig, a citra. And in Berditchev, it was very cold, and it was very difficult to acquire an esrig. And a few hours from now, the holiday of Sukkot is about to start. And Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev, the saintly mystical master, doesn't have an esrig. He tells his assistants, I want you to go to the train station and stand there, and you'll find a rich man that bought an esrig coming home off the train. You stop him and tell him, Rabbi, the Rebbe of the city wants to see you. Okay, so they stand there, and they're waiting for the next train to come in, and as Rabbi Levi Yitzchak says, the train pulls up, and a man walks out with a big box. And two Chassidim standing there and said, what's in that box? Oh, I have an esrig. Come our way. Where? The Rebbe wants to see you. Okay. He comes to the Berditchev, and the Berditchev says, look, I see you have a beautiful esrig. I need an esrig. I'll pay you 10 times the amount for your esrig. Says the Rebbe, look, I'm a rich man. I don't need the money. It's okay. I'm not selling the esrig. He says, look, you don't understand. I need that esrig. So whatever I got to pay, whatever I have to do for that esrig, I'm going to do. So tell me, do you need children? I'll give you a bracha for children. So no, Rebbe, I have children. He says, you need health? I'll give you a bracha for health. No, Rebbe, I have health. I have children. I have everything. So the Rebbe says, look, you know what? You play a hard bargain. But what I'll do for you is as follows. I will make sure that after 120 years, when you die, you will be imi v'chitzasi. You will be together with me in my private domain, in my courtyard. That's an unbelievable bracha. He'll be together with the Rebbe in his courtyard. Unbelievable. Says the Rebbe, okay, whatever that means, you got it. Here's the esrig. It's yours. And he walks out. After he walks out, the Berditchev is having second thoughts. This guy is going to be with me for all eternity. He's going to be Azan Nuj on my head. I have to handle this guy and talk to this guy and hate this guy forever and ever for one esrig. So he tells his Chassidim tonight, on the holiday of Sukkot, they had like public Sukkot. The Sukkah in his neighborhood, this rich man, there'll be 2 Chassidim standing outside. When this rich man wants to go into the Sukkah, you tell him you can't go in. That's it. You tell him he can't go into the Sukkah. Okay. Yeah, but whatever you say, we'll do. So that night after Ma'ariv, the rich man is all excited. He's going to be with the Berditchev forever. Wow. And he's about to go into the Sukkah to have the Kiddush, and all of a sudden he can't come. Can't come. Why not? The Berditchev said, you're not coming in. He says, I don't believe it. I gave my esrig. What does this mean? I'm not coming into the Sukkah. He says, go talk to him. So he runs to the other side of town, and he comes to the Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev, and he says, Rebbe, I don't understand. Why can't I go into the Sukkah? So I'll tell you the truth. I realized I made a mistake today. I gave you imi v'chitzasi to put you in my courtyard. I'm changing the deal. The deal is over. forget it. You can't stay with me forever. And you can't go into the sukkah. Forget it. Says Rebbe, look, I'll be honest with you. All I want is to go into the sukkah and make kiddush. That's it. If you don't want me to be with you, I won't be with you. But I want to do the mitzvah that God sent me to this world to do, and that is to go into the sukkah. The Ba'adishiva said, aha, that's what I was waiting for. I wanted to make sure you're worthy of coming together with me into my courtyard. Now that I see that you're willing to give up your place in the world to come, to do a mitzvah down here in this world, now I know you're truly a holy Jew, and it'll be an honor for me to have you with me in my courtyard. And this is what Sukkot is all about. We come into the shul and we daven and we're singing and we're praising God. It's very easy. Lip service. All of a sudden comes the holiday of Sukkot and says, guys, you got to move out of your fancy house. And you got to sit and you got to eat and dine. And some people sleep in a sukkah, which is raining and it's cold. And the rain is falling into the soup. And that's where you have to spend the next 7 days. Oh, this is not for me. This is for the other people. I'm a rich man. I'm going to stay in my house. What do we see from the story? That this rich man said, look, I'm leaving my fancy house. I'm going into a simple sukkah to do God's mitzvah. Because if I want to be connected with God, I have to do his mitzvah. Paradise is very good. And it's very holy. And it's wonderful. But there's nothing that is as great as performing a physical mitzvah down here in this world. So we hope and pray to celebrate Sukkot with joy, and very soon to dance in the Sukkah of Mashiach with the Ur of Leviathan, with the skin of the Leviathan, from Heda B'Meinu this year in Jerusalem. Amen.
Yeah. All right. So that's what a sukkah is. Yep.